Recentering after Santa. Okay, well, I think we're live. Are we live?
Says live on Facebook.
Yay!
Yay. Hello. Good morning. So it's so nice to be back for this year doing our podcast together and talking about recentering after Santa. So, yeah, everyone's probably either back in the swing of things a little bit or potentially dragging their feet, getting back into things, or may even still be on break. But whether you're back into routine or still, on leave, oftentimes it's about coming back to ourselves after the festive season. So we thought we would jump in today and talk about that process, how you and I do that, any tips or tricks that we might have, and just
Any fails?
any fails like this morning with
Yeah, sorry we're a bit late.
chaos.
It was supposed to be 9 o'clock, and 13 minutes later, we were still trying to work out why Asha's sound wasn't working. And we were like, what is happening here? Anyway, eventually it righted itself, and I have no idea how it did.
Yeah. One of those mysteries, but definitely putting us through our paces to make sure that we can practice what we preach as well.
Yeah,
So,
we are centered.
yeah, we're centered. Yeah.
Whilst being frustrated with the technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
So you've just had some time away.
I have. I've been away a lot actually over the Christmas break. I went to Cairns and then came home and had New Year's here in Toowoomba, and then went away again, and then came back for a night and then went away again. And I feel a bit like I'm so glad to be back in my own bed. And today I'm signing up to the gym and I'm signing up to pole class again. And I feel that recentering for me is about getting back into my routine and my daily routine, my weekly routine, and just letting everything kind of decompress. Is that the right
Yeah.
word?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm very much the same. I think the routine gets so out of whack when we're seeing to so many people or have so many social engagements, or we're on the move like you have been. And I find that there's almost kind of a part of us that gets attached to those recent experiences. So
Mm.
being able to kind of draw our own energy back into center and allow that to actually um, happen. And because so much of our energy field, if we go down this road, gets expanded over this time. We've got an energy attachment to this person, we've got an energy attachment to this experience. And then for extroverts, they can feel really kind of elated with all of that additional energetic volume going on.
Yeah.
And then for them, for example, coming back to their usual routine may feel like, well, where the hell did everyone go?
Yeah, and I feel like that other people's expectations of us over this period, particularly always, but over this period, it's like that. You and I were talking about the hits of dopamine that we get from um, meeting other people's expectations in the moment. Like it could be as simple as making the trifle for Christmas lunch. You deliver the trifle and you've done the right thing, and Auntie Flo is really happy with you, and you're like, oh, yep, tick that off.
Nailed it. Yeah.
But like when there's not when there's not those expectations to meet, and we're sitting in our own silence or our own nothingness or void of that,
Mhm.
that's where we get to create our own experience in our own energy field. And I feel for me, I'm having just gotten home, I'm just embarking on that for 2022
Yeah.
now. So how are you feeling about that for
Yeah,
yourself?
well, very similar. You and I, we know this, but you're more on the extroverted continuum, and I'm more on the introverted continuum. So for me, when I share a lot of time with people, I need time to rebuild from the ground up. So I don't experience the shrinking. I experience the needing to re-energize from within. So I think it's helpful for people to kind of reflect for themselves and go, well, if I have been spending a lot of time with others, what now are my self-care practices to
Mm,
rebuild and re-energize? And then conversely, if you're someone that experiences that massive expansion and then coming back to self feels like a contraction, how do I be super gentle with myself? How do I allow that process? And also even just bringing that into conscious awareness that
mm,
that's what that is, that we
yeah.
need to be able to come back and bring our own energy field back in to where we naturally house it and feel comfortable with it. And yeah, so that's a process both from inner out in the rebuild, and then the contraction in to go, this is what my energy feels like. So yeah, so to answer your question, I haven't been quite as busy as you over this period, so I can only imagine, because I think last night was the first night that you were in your own bed for a good
A while.
while
Yeah.
as well. So even just that, coming back to our own bed, what that feels like, waking up in our own room, what that feels like. And so for me, I've probably been this past week in my re-energization phase. Yeah. So and that for me, that's been just being really gentle with myself, doing what actually feels good at the time. So
Mm,
for me, I can get some energy from doing some creative pieces and honing my energy in that way. And then you also get that nice little reflection point to go, oh, this is actually what I've created. So I find we kind of go in cycles as to what speaks to us, what we need. And then
mm.
it's the self-permission work to actually allow ourselves to engage in that, whatever that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And just talking about being, what happens for me as an extrovert is that I get my energy field expands with people, and it's actually like I'm unaware that the draining is happening, and then
Mm,
I go like crash. Oh, okay, I need to come back to myself, and then when I'm back in my own space and my own energy field, I feel the need, because as you know, I'm an extroverted processor as well. I need to talk things through with people to be able to go through and process for myself. So that often inhibits me from sitting in my own
mm,
energy field and creating my own experience within me. Yeah, so like you said, the awareness of, oh, that's what that is, that need to reach out, that need to speak to someone right now. Actually, I just need to have a conversation with myself about or might need to do some journaling or some reflection, or I might need to take a bath and leave my phone in the other room, or yeah, whatever that may be. So I just wanted to talk about my own experience as an extrovert, because and I think it's great that we're on opposite ends, because when we first became friends and you used to become silent, I was like, oh, what's
what's going on with Asha?
what's going what did I say, what did I do, like and now I understand, oh, she's in that introversion rebuild time,
Yeah.
and I'll see her on the other side.
That's right. She'll always come back.
Yeah.
She'll come back around. It's just yeah, and it's it's funny because yeah, I know that's kind of a common thing in my life, and particularly when people first get to know me, because they experience me as chatty or social or whatever, or engaged, and I love to be engaged. and then I'll disappear for a while, and they're like, what is this? And for the people who know me really well and also choose to be
Choose to
with
hang
me,
around for the next
choose to
little.
hang around for the trip in knowing that this is
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Then they obviously learn that, oh no, there's nothing wrong with her, she's just doing her thing.
Yeah.
And so I think also, so building that insight, but then also knowing that our social relationships go both ways. So for you, I go, okay, Nicolette is looking to reach out and engage and be present and do her extroversion process. So I really value that and love to be with you in that. And it's in knowing that it's a two-way street. And so then the reciprocity of going, okay, Asha's in her introversion mode. She will come back around and she'll talk about it, when she's back around.
Yeah.
And just that reflection point that when we have our natural processes, it's also about how do other people experience my natural processes, and actually housing the fact that it's felt on both sides. Because when you can also relay that to people and understand it and also couch it for them, then their nervous system relaxes as well. They go, oh no, Asha's not being weird, or Nicolette's not, being overly present. It's, I just don't have the appropriate language for that. That's not how you are at all. What I'm saying, right? It's the fact that this is their process, and so I get it. I get it.
Yeah. And interestingly, that plays out in yours and my interactions. Like, even if we just meet up for a glass of champagne, or four,
Yeah,
I say five, but let's keep
yeah.
it four.
Who's counting?
I will always share first,
Yes,
because that's the way that our understanding is of each other, that you actually need me to share first what's going on in my life, and then that gives you the space and the time and the allowance to be comfortable to then share for you. But other people might interpret that from me, because I'm a sharer. I'm like, oh, look, this is all of me. Do you want to know? Other people might interpret that as I'm self-absorbed, or I don't care about what I'm actually doing is sharing vulnerably and inviting them to do the same. So that's just an example of how misunderstandings can happen, in relationships, and it's so amplified over the Christmas period, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Because often people, their sensitivity has increased because of those expectations, and because we are, seeing to multiple occasions or people, or we're playing more specific roles around what it is to be the daughter or the mother or the friend or the niece, or for our males, the nephew, the father, Santa, whatever it is that the role that you play. We've got increased expectation and vulnerability, like you said, because we step into these roles with a certain self-expectation and a certain vulnerability that we hope what we present is received with the intention that it's gifted. So with all of that going on, and that increased sensitivity, and often people are more maxed out in their energy, whether it's I've given so much or I'm now depleted, they're maxed out in one of those ways. Then when things come around that are just usual things, there's not the same internal space.
There's not the same bandwidth.
Exactly. And again, I think bringing all of this into conscious awareness, in going, well, part of how you and I operate together is through that beautiful symbiosis, and it's through the acknowledgement of what one another needs and how we naturally slot in and out of that. And so I think, for other people, it's worth reflecting on. who are the people in my life that I have symbiosis with? And then perhaps what are the relationships that I feel misunderstood or judged for my natural cycle? Or where do I feel that I'm often giving, but I'm not sure how I feel afterwards, or whether there is a reciprocity there. And so I think part of recentering, and particularly at this time in the year, is going, what do I want things to look like going forward? Now that I've actually created space to get off the rat wheel or off the festive season kind of cycle.
Turmoil and cycle.
Yeah. Now in coming back to myself, what do I also want the next part going forward to look like?
Yeah, that's exactly right. There was something that popped into my head, but it's just vanished because I became curious about I became curious about how we were presenting on Facebook, whether it was a speaker view or whether we were side by side, but it's a speaker view. Sorry, I got just sidetracked. So I wanted to leave people with some tips and some options for how to really simply come back to center. I mean, most of you who have been following me for a while know that I have 4 decks of oracle cards, and I'm a big believer in the daily use of using oracle cards or some kind of reflection tool. It could be a fantastic book that you open a random page to and read a page every day, or just something that makes you stop and reflect and bring you back into your own energy and out of this habit of being out of your own energy field and in that of other people's and their expectations or their turmoils or their etc etc. So that's one of the ways that I would suggest is that reflection time. Meditation is gold because and I'm very passionate about teaching people the ways that work for them. So I have a podcast of many led meditations by me because I've found for myself and for other people that by following my voice or the voice of someone who's leading you through a visualization or a process, it takes the hard work out of or gives you something to focus on other than your own thoughts. And then in the practice of that, you become comfortable in your own energy field and you can just sit there in silence for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. So those are a couple of go-tos for me. A warm bath is great because, or a cold one. I've become really curious about Wim Hof's, and being away in the van and having to have cold showers. I'm like, oh, okay. I've always had the I can't do that. I can't do cold showers. Sorry, Wim. Like, I know you're a fantastic guy and everything, but I'm not doing that. And when you have to, it's like, okay, yeah, but I have to get clean. So, so temperature and sort of shocking your body back into the present moment and your own having to concentrate on your own breath and your own. That would be another one. What are some that are your go-tos for coming back into your energy?
Yeah, I love that. I'm in complete agreement. And just on that, I was a little bit shy with the cold therapy as well. But how I started that was I would just have like a normal shower, and then at the end either do a minute or 30 seconds of the cold. And it's amazing how rejuvenated you do actually feel. And I think it's all those micro things of building up your own tolerance to go, oh yeah, I can. Oh yeah, I can. Because I think so much with meditation, I find people can really have difficulty, particularly if they're very used to thinking a lot or having to problem solve or be in that really high brain energy. Because what you and I both know is that all that higher brain activity is high beta brainwave. And then you've got low beta, and then you've got the analytical mind. And it's the analytical mind that is the barrier to coming back home to center. Because the analyzer's job is to go, am I safe here? And if you have learned the way to keep yourself safe is through chatter, through projecting outwards, and usually when that happens, people are projecting out the worst case scenario, because that's one of the ways the mind attempts to try and keep us safe. But it's actually a mind trap, because when you're projecting out that worst possible scenario, your nervous system lives it as though it's true. So, and like we've said, everything is a double-edged sword. So if you know that your nervous system lives out your mind's projections as though it is true, so much of meditative practice and building the life that we want is to start training the mind to project out what we do want to see, and allowing the nervous system to come in alignment with that, to generate those feelings that way. And then when we start seeing that clearly, we train our nervous system to start seeing the opportunities of, this is what I want. So whether that's attracting people where we do feel that level of reciprocity, you know, you and I refer to it as kind of your soul tribe, the people that you can just be, that you don't have to have those expectations, or you're actually speaking the same language with. You know, I had
You're not constantly thinking, how am I being received here? Are they comfortable? Yeah, all of those things. And just referring back to what you said about meditation and those kinds of practices training us to come back to center, the big reason we do that is so that our nervous system and our body knows how that feels, so we can actually do it in our daily life. So we can be in the supermarket and drop into center, because we know how it feels when we're out of, you know, you might be in the supermarket and someone's having an argument with their spouse down in the aisle, and you start to feel the anxiety of their energy, and then you go, no, well, actually that's their stuff and I'm just over here with my trolley. Coming back to myself because I know how to.
Yes, exactly. And because and not only knowing how to, but because it's so known to me, it's now safe. And that's how we get beyond the analytical mind to drop into that theta brainwave, to go, not only is this beneficial on all sorts of levels, I'm dropping in and it's known and it's safe. So I can now give the analyzer permission to switch off, in knowing that I'm safe to be with me. And that's what so many people are yet to actually learn for themselves. And that's why oftentimes people will get into distraction mode, because there's a fear that, well, one, I don't know if I actually like the person that I am without, you know, X, Y, Z. I don't know if I like my own company. You know, I heard
and without having someone else reflecting to you that you are great to be around, you are an amazing person, you're wonderful.
Yes.
Feeding that need to be accepted, right?
Exactly.
Because we're too afraid to sit with ourselves and accept ourselves and have those feelings for ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
So we do anything we can to distract from that.
Yeah. You know, I heard a great expression once, and it was, a lot of people treat their mind like a dark alleyway, best to not enter alone. You know, and
Mine's the darkest alleyway. It goes a long way.
Scary things jump out at me.
I just had an image of a monster at the end of it.
Yeah. So it's through these processes that we actually learn, oh, my inner world is beautiful, and we can actually create it. And and also being honest with ourselves and going, okay, what parts of my inner world perhaps need remodeling because I haven't entered them, or I treat them like a dark alleyway, and how do I switch some of the lights on and actually see what's here, for example, and learn to be home and centered, and by extension, teaching our nervous system that we are safe with whatever it is that our inner world likes to generate that we've been so long moving away from.
And we are all capable of recreating that. We might go down the dark alleyway by ourselves and be like, oh, there's some stuff in here that keeps popping up at me that like you said, needs remodeling. But we can retrain ourselves. We can refocus ourselves. We can live from a creative and loving and blessed and grateful place. It is possible to shift without the help of others, and it's much more sustainable that way.
Yes, yes. I find all recentering processes essentially come down to I can, which sounds so basic, but it's actually really profound if you tap into the essence of that, because so much of what keeps us distracted, or on the rat wheel, or repeatedly living the same essentially life, that if there is that voice that says, I don't know if I can keep on this same trajectory, that's your body's, and if you will, your soul's messaging to go, there's something out of alignment here. But because it's known, and we fear so much of what letting go of that known would look and feel like, we continue on. So for me, recentering comes back to the knowledge, the deep knowledge that I can remodel, I can cope, I can expand either my window of tolerance or my own inner world to safely house the things that I've previously been turning away from.
And I can feel wonderful, and I can feel this way, whatever the way is that you want to feel, without others, without that person, without this person, without which then clears the unhealthy attachment that we have to others, and our relationships are on a much more even keel because there's not this like fear going on and need.
Exactly. So to answer your question, because I know I went on a bit of a tangent there before I answer.
Always enjoy your tangents. Happy to come along for the ride.
It's one of the really basic grounding or reconnecting techniques that I teach people, and I'll just shift my camera a little bit so it's not angled so high, is if you take the blade of your thumb and place it on your diaphragm and then across your chest, good, and then your other and along your diaphragm, so it's hooked in underneath. Yep, beautiful. And then just allow yourself to breathe into your hands and for your body to register the weight and warmth of your hands. And it can be as simple as that, as to what it is to feel recentered and to come back home. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's just a really gentle one. And from an evolutionary perspective, because often with that analytical mind, people will come up with so many judgments as to why I won't be with or expand enough to even just see how this feels. So for those that are a bit more prone to judgment, so neuroscientifically, this is shown to work because it triggers the amygdala in the brain to calm down, which is the reactive center of the brain. And from an evolutionary perspective, we're also we have evolved to have our underbelly upright, which is an incredibly vulnerable position because this is where all of our vital organs are. So the mere fact of covering that from an evolutionary perspective also serves to go, I am safe. The key parts of me are safe. And then also, if we look at studies with infants that don't have touch actually die. So we can never underestimate the healing power of touch. And to come back to this place, the gross majority of humans will feel some level of comfort and ease with this. And then if you didn't, simply try the other way, because about 3/4 of the population will feel comfort and ease this way, and then 1/4 will feel comfort and ease with the other way. So just seeing, but often what you go to first will be your natural, but it's also just good to run the experiment for yourself as
Yeah.
well.
And I love how you explain the scientific reasons why these things work, because I'm fairly impatient and I just go, works, people, just do it. I've done it, believe me. But
That's right. Yeah.
for those who are more skeptical or maybe embarking on the journey of self-discovery at the beginning, so the judgment is more likely to come up about why would I do that? Like,
Yes.
yeah, so thank you for not only sharing the technique, but the explanation of why.
Easy, my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah. Well,
Well, here's wishing everybody a beautiful week, and we'll see you the same time next week.
yes.
Asha and I have a full year planned of not only podcasts but working together. We've got a retreat coming up, which we'll let you know the details and dates for. It'll be held here in Toowoomba, and I'm so excited to get back into that retreat space and healing space with you, because we have so much fun.
We do. People should come and experience the fun with us.
Hang out. All right, beautiful. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.